We've had so much fun today witnessing extraordinary uses of technology and AI with music. I'd like to continue that, and since you're all here, give you a real experience of this incredible technology that you just witnessed Body using. Patrick Elisha has been traveling all through the Northeast, giving demonstrations of this incredible instrument, which has wonderful educational benefits as well. He's definitely highlighted and demonstrated that here at Bowdoin since last Tuesday. The panel will continue to be here throughout the weekend through next Tuesday. So those of you students who are still here, please email me or text me, G. Lopez at Bowdoin, and come and try it out. It's a really very special thing. I'd like to turn it over to Patrick here in a moment. I think he's getting set up, ready to go, to highlight this incredible piano. Patrick.
Thank you, George. And a huge round of applause to George, Woolley, and Body. Incredible performance tonight. All right, so for my portion, before I hand it back to Duo Mundi, I'm just going to take 3 or 4 hours to do a brief introduction. So I've had the fortune of spending time with your incredible students and faculty here. I have to say that, you didn't hear it from me, but among the NESCAC schools, this is the kind of program that I would expect and do see at the major conservatories in the country. And to have this level of pedagogy, world-class performance, incredibly talented young artists that have such brilliance in a broad range of interdisciplinary studies is really amazing. And that's a testament to this community and to the school. Now, George and Woolley and I, we actually met through Spirio. That's what this piano is called, Spirio. And there's a composer in Philadelphia that reached out to me. I had no idea who he was, Leonardo da San. He said, Patrick, you don't know me, but you will soon. A group of 4 Latin American composers were looking to premiere their works using the Spirio. And the idea was we would have 2 audiences, one in Boston and one in Philadelphia, with 2 of these pianos. So you may have noticed the keys moving today and some mystical music coming out of this instrument. This piano has the capability to broadcast and receive performances in real time, something called SpirioCast. So George and Woolley came up to Boston and they premiered one of the works on the program, and that was cast back to Philadelphia where an audience was watching. And that's how your Steinway Spirio residency was born. A residency that follows Harvard, MIT, Berkeley, Boston Conservatory, all of the 5 colleges, and Keene State College recently became an all-Steinway school with one of these instruments. So, before we talk a little bit about how it works, let's listen to just a little bit of music. It's going to be a thematic departure, perhaps, from what we were just listening to now, but I felt that it would be appropriate that we return to a motif that we just heard. So the beautiful part is that you don't feel a technology layer. And what you heard were, who you heard, 3 of the 5 Browns. If you're not familiar, the 5 Browns, group of 5 brothers and sisters that went to Juilliard together and sometimes play with 5 pianos, sometimes play on 1 or 2. Really stunning arrangement. Now, to demystify what's actually happening, I'll show you how this works. So I'm going to play that back and pause. In case you didn't know, now you know what that is. I was going to ask and see how many hands I'd get. So if we take a look at the bottom of the screen, that's seismographic reading. Apologies for those of you that have heard this joke already, but that's an EKG that's hooked up to me, and no, I'm just kidding. So can you imagine that's actually damper pedal travel. And it's first time Steinway artist Max Levinson, Boston Conservatory, I had faculty experience this. And he was just stunned because the graph of the motion of the pedal, we think of it as very linear, but that pedal only moves those dampers ever so slightly, a few millimeters. And so the pedal and the shift pedal are an accordion pedal on the left, which gives us such tremendous color on the piano. Those are measured at over 200 levels of sensitivity, 100 times a second, with little optical sensors. Now the key touch itself, interestingly enough, is actually captured. This is an MIT Nano Immersion Lab by these grayscale optical sensors. So what these sensors do is they actually capture the hammer velocity right before it hits the string at over 1,000 levels of sensitivity, 800 times a second. So this originally came out as something coined the Reed Performance Piano. There are many other instruments that have captured touch at the key, but fundamentally what's important is the hammer, right as it strikes the string, is the end result of our art as pianists. And if we can capture that completely, we can get a true representation of our playing. So we have these little motors called solenoids that push up on the back of the keys, and they create music. An iPad talks to the piano via Wi-Fi, and it's really quite simple in that regard. The special thing about the Spirio is that it's a Steinway from the beginning. It's built in from the beginning, and it's no different than any other Steinway in the design of the piano. It's something that they kept true. Now you'll see as I play back a little bit more of this, we'll kind of continue where we left off. The notes that are a little more orange are more forte. The notes that are more white are more piano. incredible. It captured every little nuance. Even I graced one of the keys so softly, it's telling me that the note is 38% below the audible range. So outside of analysis, what's really been a blessing is to have the opportunity to work with students, not just here, but all over the region, as a pianist, and to see how they evolve away from the driver's seat. You see, us pianists don't have the distinct advantage of hearing what the ticket holders are paying for. And it's nice to be able to go into the hall with our score and to really hear how we're projecting and what colors we're sending into the audience. Playing with a chamber group or with an orchestra, we can hear your balance. As a composer, at Boston Conservatory, we have composers writing for the piano, creating layers upon layers of recordings, almost like that Clair de Lune, but with many different textures and registers used. So before we close with the historic piece, I'll introduce that in a moment. A couple of things I wanted to say specifically about this campus and its students and pianos they have here. A pianist is gifted with the opportunity to make beautiful colors with every instrument that we approach. That in itself is a gift, but also our greatest challenge. And the pianos on campus that are nearing 100 years old, and almost half of them over 100 years old, are such that students have to imagine what the sound would be like in their head and pretend that the piano works and is able to create that sound. As you heard today in George and Pooley's performance, the sound and control of a new instrument is critical and vital equipment to the making of music for the pianist. Just like any materials or equipment in a laboratory, this instrument is our lens to art, and the closer we can get to what's in our inner ear, to bringing that to reality, the closer we can bring those two worlds together, the more magic can happen, and the better stewards we can be for our students as we prepare them for the world. With that, we're going to go back in time. Steinway has figured out a way to resurrect pianists through a section of music called the Steinway Immortals, where they take the audio files and they convert it to that Spirio format that you saw, bringing back their touch and recreating the performance right in your concert hall. So let's end with a little bit of Vladimir Horowitz. This piece, when I played it at the 5 colleges, one of the attendants, the faculty that goes between the schools, actually started weeping. And I asked him afterwards, of course, that the piece is beautiful, but why? And his father was the manager of the big hall at the Tchaikovsky Conservatory. And when he was a little child, he attended this concert and this closing encore. Thank you.